You are listening to A Path to New You, a podcast about mental health and veterans issues. I'm your host, Timothy Zarumsky. I am a United States Navy veteran. I served from 2001 to 2009. In this week's episode, I thought it'd be a great idea to talk about with how coping with stress and depression during the holiday season. Since this coming weekend, Christmas is coming up, their holidays. Christmas is coming up, and I thought it'd be a great idea to talk about stress and depression and ways to cope and help manage it. So that's today's episode. So we all know during the holiday season, it's a time to hang out or be with family, have fun, and whatnot. It's also a time where it can be extremely stressful. Stressful as in trying to figure out what you're going to cook, who's all coming, trying to figure out who's going to be there, and how much food you have to cook, and many other things too. So scheduling ahead of time could definitely help. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself a little bit. So with holiday stress, I'm going to talk about 9 different ways, probably more than 9 different ways to help cope with holiday stress. Again, some of this information I found online. If you Google it and all that stuff too, you can actually find a lot of information on there. And some of it is actually my ideas as well. So one of the first things you can do to cope or manage your holiday stress or lessen that holiday stress is to plan ahead. What I mean by planning ahead, well, if the holidays are coming up, like Christmas, Hanukkah, and all that stuff, that's coming up. So why not plan ahead instead of planning last minute? So make sure to plan on what you can attend. Like if there's several parties out there, right? There's several holiday parties out there. There's your work party, employer party, friends are having parties. So plan ahead and make sure which ones you can attend in person. And even planning ahead when you're hosting the holiday parties as well. Create a menu, like a to-do list ahead of time. Definitely helps with stress too. I do that almost every day where I make a to-do list on my phone. Even when I go grocery shopping, I have like a to-do list or I have items which I need and follow that menu or that to-do list as well. That definitely helps with your stress and makes everything easier, especially grocery shopping. I'm sure a lot of you listening to this can understand what I'm talking about or have been doing what I'm doing as well. Number two, the second one would be to say no. You can always say no. There's so many commitments with holiday commitments and whatnot. Is it okay to say no to a few things? It's also a relief saying no. Because if you imagine if you say yes, like, yep, I'll do that. Yep, I'll do that. That creates a lot more things for you to do, which creates a lot of stress. So say no sometimes. I know that's tough. For me, I was what's considered a yes man for years. And all of a sudden I started saying no at employee one of my employers. I used to say a lot, yes a lot. And so I would be that guy that come to if they need something or need me to take their shift. I'd be yes. Yes, I'll do that. Yes, I'll do that. I finally had the point where I was getting burnt out where I said, "No, I cannot do that. I'm sorry." And then people get confused, but eventually they understand, like, you're doing a lot. So I get why you're saying no. I'll find someone else to do it, or matter of fact, we don't have to do that. Also, try sharing your to-do list with other family or friends. That would definitely help too with stress. Also, another thing is plan your spending. And during the holidays, you're buying things, buying gifts for everybody. So make a budget and stick to it. Create relaxing surroundings. What does that exactly mean? When you're doing your chores, you're doing your to-do list, put on some music. You can also dim your lights and put on candles. Just light some candles. Just make your area that you're in a relaxing area. If it's nice out, why don't you open the windows? Also, maintaining a healthy habit. During the holiday season, we tend to eat a lot of, I guess, unhealthy food like candy, chocolates, and all that. Why don't you stick to a healthy habit? You can have some chocolate, have some cookies, but also eat some healthy snacks as well. Usually have a whole charcuterie board or snacks out before you're eating your main meal. You can always put out like vegetables and dipping sauces for those vegetables. Also with cookies and crackers and stuff too. Just make everything healthy. Maintain a healthy habit. It's okay to eat some cookies every now and then. Eat some chocolate, but don't overdo it. That could actually create stress too. Share your feelings with other people, especially for those who have lost a loved one during the holiday season. It could be their first time not having that person with them. Just share your feelings, talk about it. Sharing it actually definitely helps a lot. Also, take a break. Take a break. So, what does that mean? Don't forget about your own needs. If you're helping other people out, don't forget about your own needs. Go out, take a little break from what you're doing. Take a nap, take a short walk, read a book, or even watch like a movie or something. Say you're doing your to-do list or you're helping other people out and you're doing that for like an hour and a half or whatever. Take a break after an hour, hour and a half. Just go out, do something. Just go for a walk if it's nice out. Take breaks. I always take a break, especially if I'm studying or if I'm cleaning the house, the condo that I live in. I would clean for about an hour and a half, and then you know what? I'd sit down on the couch and take like a 20, 30-minute break. I watch like a movie or I watch an episode of one of my favorite shows. Take a break. Another common or helpful thing you can do to manage your stress, which I talk to my clients and I talk to everyone who's told me they're stressed out or looking for ideas to help them release some of that stress. It's practicing mindfulness and meditation. My last episode I did a couple of weeks ago, I did talk about mindfulness. So if you have not listened to that, listen to that episode. I talk about what mindfulness is. So mindfulness, in short, is notice your surroundings, right? Just sitting in, notice your surroundings, just being quiet, just notice what's around you, knowing what, listen to what is out there. If you're outside, for example, if you're outside during in the morning, you're outside sitting down on a chair outside on your deck or something like that. You hear birds, birds chirping. You can hear people talking in the distance or your neighbors talking or whatever. So that's like practicing mindfulness, just being in the moment. Meditation is another one too. That's a form of mindfulness. Meditation, sitting down where it's quiet and just focusing on the moment. There's apps out there which have meditations in them. It could be 5, 10, 15, 20-minute ones out there. There are some apps that are free, some that you got to pay for. Also, YouTube, I believe, has a few meditations which are free. So use that to help out as well. That definitely helps with your stress, managing your stress. I use mindfulness and meditation quite a bit. Again, prevent burnout by saying no. It's okay to say no. I did mention that earlier. Taking a break definitely helps. Get outside for some fresh air and sunlight. And if you're in therapy, stay in therapy. What does that mean? So you're busy with the holidays coming up, so much going on. I suggest that you keep your scheduled appointments, especially if you're stressed out. You know you're going to be stressed out. Talk to your therapist, psychiatrist, or psychologist, whoever you're talking to. Talk to them about it. Then you guys can plan ahead. You know what? This is what's going to happen, and find ways to help cope with that. So when it comes to that, you'll be ready for it. Again, grief and loss might be a big one as well during the holiday season. Use your support system could be friends, family members, your mental health professionals, your therapist you're talking to if you have one. Just talk about it, especially if it's your first Christmas or first holiday without that loved one or that friend or whoever it may be. Financial stress, again, you did talk about that. Stay on budget, create a budget, say, hey, this is how much I'm going to spend this holiday, and stick to it. The next thing we're going to be talking about is managing your depression during the holiday season. Some of the things I'm going to talk about during the next part of this episode, they might correlate with the ones I talked about during the managing stress. The holidays can be a difficult time for those who are battling depression. Often this is because of some triggers that e- that increase stress, navigating family dynamics and burnout due to a packed schedule of holiday activities and commitment. There are certain coping mechanisms I'm going to be talking about, but I'll talk about that here in a minute. But some of those, but there are some symptoms in which those who are diagnosed with depression, who are depressed, that I'm going to talk about here. And so, according to the National Institute of Mental Health, here are some symptoms of depression to watch for. Some those who are listening who are diagnosed with depression, you would probably know what your symptoms are, pretty much. So examples would be feeling sad or anxious, feeling guilty, helpless, or worthless, loss of interest in hobbies and activities that you enjoyed in the past, feeling hopeless, having less energy or feeling tired, too little or too much sleeping, changes in appetite or weight, feeling irritable or restless, and thoughts of suicide or death. So, again, in order to be diagnosed with depression, you'd have to have those I just listed, you'd have to have them for every day for at least 2 weeks. So, what are some of the things you can do if you're depressed, if you have depression, and you know the holidays are coming up, and you're trying to cope with your depression, try to figure out what can I do to help manage my depression so I won't get depressed, or if I am depressed, I won't even get more depressed. So, here's some of the things you can do to help manage your depression. Again, pay attention to your symptoms early. You know it's going to come. Just pay attention. You know that it's going to come. Just manage them early. As soon as you know it's going to come, just know, plan ahead. Surround yourself with a solid support system. I did talk about that again for stress. We talk about managing stress. So again, surround yourself with a solid support system. That means friends, family, relatives, um, your therapist. So be around those who care most about you during the holidays can help ease depression symptoms. Try not to isolate yourself. That'd be the worst thing you could do is isolate yourself during the holiday season. It just makes you more depressed because you know your friends, your family, they're out there enjoying themselves with other people and you're isolated. That just makes things worse. So do not isolate yourself. I'll talk about that a little bit later. Having your support system close by during the holidays will also ensure you have someone available to talk to should your symptoms I just talked about begin to surface. Keep your plans simple. Depression can suck up your energy and distort your sense of concentration. It's also known to make decision making incredibly difficult. Instead of stacking your holiday calendar with all these different plans that you say you have to do, maybe just lessen that a little bit. That way you don't have so much to do. Because if it turns out and you put a lot on your calendar, you're going to see that and you're going to get stressed out because you're like, oh man, I got all this stuff I need to do. And then you're going to get depressed because you're not going to be able to do all of it. So, yeah, just lessen the amount of things you need to do. Keep it simple. Be patient with yourself. Some suffering from depression during the holidays might think, hey, this is supposed to be a happy time of the year. Why can't I just feel happy? But setting unrealistic expectations of being happy around the clock during the holidays can often backfire. It's important to set realistic expectations for yourself during the holidays and not get discouraged. So, again, be patient with yourself. Again, that takes time. Being patient with yourself definitely takes time. That can't happen overnight. So, if you have a therapist you're talking to, I'm sure your therapist has talked to you about being patient with yourself and probably told you the exact same thing I'm telling you right now. It doesn't happen overnight, it takes practice. Exercise is another one you could do. They say at least 30 minutes a day for adults and about 60 minutes a day for kids. Exercising can mean going out for a walk. If you have a gym, go to your gym, do like a workout at the gym. Um, you could find workouts online too, some for free. Just being active, that's exercise. Taking care of your body through regular exercise is beneficial to your health for many reasons. Avoid drinking alcohol. Holidays are a time where people drink a lot. Maybe not really a lot, but there is alcohol involved. especially in the state of Wisconsin. Wisconsin is known for their drinking. So, if you're depressed, try to avoid drinking alcohol or try to manage your alcohol drinking. Um, Alcohol is a depressant. You might feel good, like when you're drinking, you might feel pretty good, but eventually it is a depressant, which makes you more depressed, especially if you have something that comes up. And just be mindful of the alcohol intake. Or again, don't drink alcohol. You know, create like a mocktail. Mocktail is like a non-alcoholic drink. Also, if you're sober, if you have alcohol issues and you've been sober for like period of time, I'm sure when you're at your family's gathering, they know what's going on. They're also very supportive and just talk to them about your sobriety if you're sober. Again, you can avoid drinking alcohol or just manage your alcohol as well, especially if you're depressed. Remember to maintain a healthy diet. I did talk about that earlier about the stress. During the holidays, we all eat like a lot of sweets, candy, chocolate, cookies, and all that stuff. So remember to maintain a healthy diet. It's okay to like eat cookies every now and then, but just manage it. Don't overindulge in it. Also, seek professional help. Like if you're not seeing a therapist, look for one and start seeing one because definitely that helps talking to someone like a mental health professional like myself. Your friends or family members can only do so much. Whereas someone who's trained, someone who's educated, who's may be able to do a little bit more than what your family and friends can do. So if you don't have a therapist, go out and look for one. There's some affordable therapists out there. If you have insurance, a lot of them take insurance too. So I just talked about this about a minute ago, probably. Again, don't isolate yourself. It can be tempting to isolate yourself, just staying at home, since you're feeling depressed during the holidays. But then don't do that. That could just make your depression worse if you isolate yourself, stay at home. Because then you're realizing in the back of your head, your mind, you're saying, if I'm staying home, it's gonna be okay. But then again, you're thinking your family, friends, and everyone's out having a good time and isolating yourself. Just you just feel more depressed that way. So what you can do before, so you don't isolate yourself, plan ahead. Just think about like, I'm gonna have these relatives over. This person is gonna make me feel this way. I might get triggered from this person due to something or anything like that. Just plan ahead, think ahead. You know what? This is what I'm gonna do if this person's there. I'm just gonna try to stay away from them and talk to other people. Just be prepared and make sure you're self-aware of what's going on. Again, if you're with a group of people and you feel overwhelmed, it's okay to just excuse yourself into like another room or even go outside for a bit. Just however, if your family, if your family lives far away or whatever, and you don't have people around the area, there's always things you can do out in the community. Many local businesses and organizations put on holiday events throughout the season. You can always go there and volunteer. Volunteering is another big one during the holiday season. You know, I'm sure you see all over the news. There's gifts, and there's organizations asking for help, like wrap gifts or just help serve meals for the homeless or anything like that. So yeah, if you don't live close to family or you don't have anybody you're going to be hanging out with during the holiday season, go out and volunteer. I've done that a few times and it feels really good just being able to be out there, meet new people. You can meet new people as well. Practice self care. Self care is extremely important. I talk to people about self care all the time. Make sure you take care of yourself. Make sure you're exercising. Make sure you're eating healthy. That's self care. Again, another very important thing is always lean on your support system. If you have friends, family members, relatives, or anybody you talk to who you feel are very supportive, that understand what you're going through, are easy to talk to, lean on them, talk to them. If something's coming up, talk to them, reach out. And that feels pretty good too when you do that. Just having a friend there or a family member to talk to when you're going through like depression or being stressed out, just talking to someone about it makes you feel a lot better. It definitely makes me feel a lot better when I'm talking about my situations because I'm not perfect and I have stuff that goes on, things that go on, and I reach out and I talk to people about it and trust me, it definitely helps. So I hope you learned a little bit something today about managing stress and your depression with this episode. If you have any questions or concerns or anything like that, you can reach out to me. I do have a Facebook page for the Path to New You Facebook page. You can reach out that way. I also post self care ideas and ways to cope with stress and depression and all kinds of mental health ideas on how to help manage your mental health on there as well. You can reach out to me through there. You can message me if you want, if you need to, or just comment on the post on a post that'll be posted. I'll post a link to this episode as well on there. And if you have questions, you can always comment below. And um this podcast is available on most major platforms. Apple Music, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Audible, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Even though Google Podcasts just sent me an email about a month and a half ago or so saying that they will no longer exist come next year for some reason. So I'm looking at probably posting on another platform. YouTube might be another one I'm going to be using as a platform. Um, so yeah, again, I also do have a Facebook page for my private practice, New Beginnings Counseling LLC as well. If you like that, follow that, and I do post stuff on there as well. Um, if you know anybody who would like to be a guest on my show, please reach out. I do have a couple guests are coming up. One's in January on Martin Luther King Day. She's gonna be talking about perfectionism, so I'm looking forward to that. And I have another one who's um, part of the VFW. VFW is the Veteran of Foreign Wars, but she is in the auxiliary department. Auxiliary departments. I'll talk more about that. She'll talk more about that when she comes on. Anyway, you are listening to A Path to New You. I hope you learned something today. And I hope if you are depressed or stressed out, I hope you use some of the ideas I did talk about. Again, you are listening to A Path to New You. Have a good rest of the day and have a great holiday. And I will not have a episode next week due to the holidays. So the following week I should have one. You were listening to A Path to New You. Be well.